Hello, and welcome to the Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk. My name is Steve Van Eiderstein. Thank y'all for joining me tonight as we do today's daily reading from James Allen's Daily Meditations. This will be fresh to you and fresh to me, meaning you'll get my genuine response, reactions, observations, and what I relate to about the reading, as this will be the first time that I hear it or read it right on this podcast with y'all. Looking forward to it. These last couple of days have just really been a I don't know. I like this whole justice thing. I like this. Oh, that's right. That's what it introduced yesterday. It introduced reason. I was having a blank. But the reason part of this, I really, really do enjoy. And it was really an important part of my understanding of this whole thing and how I kind of made peace with it personally and started to become to understand spirituality and reason and intellect and all these other things that are all actually intertwined, not, not only one allowed, I guess. So here we go. This is November 24th reading from James Allen's Daily Meditations. A man does not live until he begins to discipline himself. He merely exists. Before a man can accomplish anything of an enduring nature in the world, he must first of all acquire some measure of success in the management of his own mind. This is as mathematical as a truism as that 2 and 2 are 4. For out of the heart are the issues of life. If a man cannot govern the forces within himself, he cannot long hold a firm hand upon the outer activities which form the visible life. On the other hand, as a man succeeds in governing himself, he rises to higher and higher levels of power and usefulness and success in the world. Hitherto, his life has been without purpose or meaning, but now he begins to consciously mold his own destiny. He is clothed and in his right mind. The practice of self-discipline. With the practice of self-discipline, a man begins to live. Now, if I had read this beginning of my sobriety, the beginning of my spiritual journey, my recovery, I would have hated it. I wouldn't have quite understood it. I would have acted like I did, though, and I would have thought it was contradictory because my understanding, I'd never had an experience with true freedom, and there was something that was said in the 12-step fellowships that really resonated. Well, I'm really reminded of right now, and when I first heard it, I didn't like because it was about the same type of thing, but it was most likely something of a religious context. But it says discipline is the yoke of a free man, and I never understood that. I didn't get it. I don't. It probably mostly because I didn't want to get it. Because that would mean I'd have to have discipline, and that was one of the things I knew I did not have. I had absolutely zero self-discipline. I relied on my own actions and mindset in life to be governed by external things all the time. I was at the mercy of the world 100% of the time, unfortunately. And let me tell you, I didn't know it was possible to not be. Isn't that crazy? I didn't even know that I didn't have to live that way. I didn't know there was a different way to live. I didn't know I had options, you know. So this is a beautiful reading and one that I've learned and had experience with in just a short amount of time that I've been walking this path. And I'm so grateful for it. And this first line, A man does not live until he begins to discipline himself. He merely exists. That is just so true because we just exist to serve our own selfish pleasures, our own self centered desires and needs. The only thing that we have is it's not that the only thing that we have, the only thing that we care to pursue are things that serve us. So we merely exist for our own self pleasure, for our own love of self. It's not until I've we learn discipline. It's not until we learn to rein that in and serve a higher purpose do we actually begin to live. And we do that through self-discipline. We do that through the proper use of the will. What an amazing thing. Before a man can accomplish anything of an enduring nature in the world, he must first of all acquire some measure of success in the management of his own mind. Now, there's a lot of things going around today about getting your own house in order first. There's I believe there's something to be said for that. It's been I'm going to say this a lot today, but it's been my personal experience that yeah, I can have the best intentions to change the world and change my community, but without getting my own life lined up, without getting my own life in proper order, I had no business in even trying to do that. I really hadn't. What is it? Yeah, to make your bed. There's a couple of things that say that, and it's so incredibly true, right? How can I expect to how can I expect to believe how can I believe that I would be able to manage anything outside my own little sphere of influence when I can't even make my own bed, when I can't even tend to my own house, when my own personal life is completely out of sync and out of whack? How am I supposed to, on solid footing, be able to say, I deserve the command and respect of guiding this even larger community? This before a man can accomplish anything of enduring nature in the world, he must first of all acquire some measure of success in management of his own mind. That is absolutely true. And I love how I'm grateful it says some measure of success. We don't have to do it perfectly, but we have to be aware and we have to we have to have at least a general composure of our own responsibilities. This is as mathematical a truism is that as that two and two are four, for out of the heart are the issues of life. So get your own actions in order, get your own thinking in order, and get your heart in order. Get your intentions coming from the correct place. And then the changes will solidify into a permanent, positive, loving place. Right. And this is, I don't believe there's an argument about this. I don't believe there is a way to phrase this or put this or to manipulate this statement to make it untrue. That as sure as two and two plus four are equal four, you have to address it yourself first before you can address all the larger scope in the world. We don't get to go from an fettered, unorganized, and train wreck of a personal life to governing the world. Heck, we can't even we shouldn't even be jumping to helping run a community. It's it's just the truth. Painful truth to some, painful to me at one point. Now appreciate it. Gives me kind of a gauge of what I need to be doing if I want to progress further in life in a certain area. As weird as that might sound, it's actually something I'm grateful for to know. If a man cannot govern the forces within himself, he cannot long hold a firm hand upon the outer activities which form the visible life. If you can't keep a steady grasp, a practiced and consistent grasp on yourself, you have no business doing anything else. Your first battle is you. Conquer that. On the other hand, as a man succeeds, so this is the part, this is the cool part. This I love when he flips this to say, yeah, this is the reality of the situation. But when you do, on the other hand, as a man succeeds in governing himself, he rises to higher and higher levels of power and usefulness and success in the world. So the more we get a grasp on ourselves and our lives and our character and our actions and then our thoughts and our intentions, our hearts and our souls, the more and more power we will grow into. And with that power comes usefulness to others and then therefore success in the world. Right? This isn't a power trip. This isn't an ego feeding endeavor. If that ends up being the goal, you will fail every time. But if you are genuinely there to be of service to God and others, or that power and others, you will get these promises. Hitherto, his life has been without purpose or meaning, but now he begins to consciously mold his own destiny. He is clothed in the right, in his right mind. That's in quotes. I think that's from Christianity or the Bible. I'm not entirely sure where that comes from, but I've seen it multiple times in his writing. Clothed and in his right mind. So, coming from the right place, appropriately pursuing things, going after the right things, right? Because you're changing from being serving yourself to serving God and others, to serving that power as you understand it in others. So you're clothed and in his right mind. You've grown into this. What a beautiful thing. Clothed and in his right mind. Just because he we consciously make an effort to discipline our minds, to discipline ourselves. The practice of self discipline. With the practice of self discipline, a man begins to live. I'm saying that right at the beginning. That's my exact experience. It is through self discipline that I found freedom. And through that freedom, I was blessed with joy and love, kindness, compassion, all of these other character traits that were taught to me because I started this pathway. And there's nothing that I could be more grateful for than that, I don't believe. Because it's given me a whole new perspective, which is a whole new way of living, a whole new world to live in. What a blessing. By simply changing perspective, I get to live in a different world. It's pretty awesome. So, well, that was an incredible reading for tonight. One of the best ones in November, I think. Definitely one that struck a chord with me and is going to cause me some reflection, honestly, because I got to go back and take a look at things every once in a while just to make sure. to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm oriented towards the right thing as well. So, all right. Well, there you go, guys. I'll be looking forward till tomorrow. Until next time. Thanks.